This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Quarterback, he's doing it like a linebacker. Watch him. Ready? Go. Come on. Watch me as I go across the field. Look at my eyes. Where am I going? Where am I going? Where am I going? Hey, where you going? Where you going? They're coming after you. You got the ball. What are you going to do? Let's go. Boom. There you go. Run it through. Run it through.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Philippines Uncut. I'm your host, Buddy Kunana. Now, this show we talk about everything under the sun, and tonight's topic is about American football, specifically Pinoys in American football. Now, that video you watched was not in the United States. It was here in the Philippines, and it's about a group of Filipinos who formed a team called the Pilipinas Aguilas, and they are the National Sports Association for American Football in the Philippines. And joining me to talk about Pinoys in American football are three guys from the team. We have Jose Inigo Pulido, who is the defensive back. We have Paul Reyes, the offensive captain, and Jeremy Nadado, the defensive captain. Inigo, Paul, Jeremy, welcome to Philippines Uncut. A pleasure to have you boys here. And this is a very interesting topic because I'm sure a lot of people who are watching the opening video, it looked like a movie. It looked like something from, it looked like a Hollywood movie. It looked like it was based in the States, but it actually was about your team, the Pilipinas Aguilas. Now, before we talk about the team and American football, let's have a brief introduction. Let's start with Inigo.
So I'm Inigo Pulido. I play defensive back for the Pilipinas Aguilas.
How long have you been with the team?
I've been with the team for just a few months.
Since we started, yeah.
We just started.
Yeah.
So.
So it's a fairly new team, all right.
Yeah.
Paul?
Paul Reyes. I play quarterback, and in the game I play quarterback and wide receiver.
All right.
And also from the start, I've been within the year because we just formed the team.
Cool. Anyway, I mean, all these terms we're going to explain later.
Yes.
What a wide receiver is, what a cornerback is, okay? Jeremy?
Jeremy Nadado. I play linebacker for the team. Same. Started the team together.
Okay. Now, you guys said that the Pilipinas Aguilas, basically a new team. Tell us a bit about the team. I mean, history, who founded it, and and what have you guys been doing so far?
Okay, so how it formed, we have a local league here. It's American Football League, which started 4 years ago. And so the next big thing, we wanted to have competitions against other countries to see where the Philippines stacks up. So we joined a federation, IFAF. It's International Federation of American Football. We got POC and PSC accredited. And from there, formed a team of all the great players in the local league, consisting of Filipinos, of course, because we're a national team. And that's how we basically formed. So.
Okay, you guys talk about a local league.
Yes.
What is this league like? Is it a big league?
Right now, for the past 3 years, it's been 4 teams. On the 4th year, we had a 5th team coming into just new. So this year will be on our 5th. Per team, around 40 to 50 players. So it's relatively big.
Okay, and how often do you guys play against each other?
Season starts usually in September.
September.
Correct. Goes all the way up to
Feb.
Feb or March.
We try to follow the National Football League in the States, so that schedule.
Who are these teams? You said there are 4 teams. What are their names?
So you got the 4-time defending champions, the Bandits.
Is that your
And
team?
then-
The
yes.
Bandits.
Yes.
Right.
That's
And
their
then-
team, actually.
Oh, so you guys are teammates on the Bandits. All right.
Yes.
So the
And
the
then-
Bandits, all right?
There's the Juggernauts.
That's my team.
I'm
Then
sorry?
Juggernauts.
Juggernaut, the Bandits, the Juggernauts.
And we're the
okay.
4-time runner-ups. These guys are my rivals. So
Right.
it's pretty.
And then the 2 others?
There's the Wolves,
Wolves.
which another team is the Rebels, and the newest team is the Dark Knights.
Nice. So it's interesting. So you guys are the National Sports Association for American Football, and you all belong to different teams.
Yes.
Yeah.
So and then you find yourselves on the opposite side during your matches, but then you come together when you guys play overseas.
Yes.
You
Correct.
know? So I mean, what is that like? I mean, what is it like to? I mean, okay. From what I understand from football, it's a very aggressive, very it can get very aggressive, very
Yeah.
pumped up during games, and also emotions probably run high. How is it that you guys play different teams and then you see each other now on the same team? I mean, what is it?
At least
What
for
is it
me,
like?
I try to just keep it on the field. I mean, he plays defense, I play offense. He's tackled me a few times, I'm sure. So I just keep it on the field. But I know it's a sport on the field, but outside, I talk to these guys.
Yeah.
And joining up in Japan, we all just got together.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. When you put on the flag, when you carry the flag, the Philippine flag as a team, then you really forget all differences and you guys come together
Yes.
as a
Correct,
team.
correct.
Excellent. Now, you guys mentioned that you played in Japan recently. Tell us a bit about that experience. Inigo?
So everyone was excited because we wanted to see how we stack up to other teams internationally, and it was a good opportunity for us to play Japan because they're one of the top 3 teams in the world. They're, I think, currently ranked number 2 in the world.
Wow.
So it was a great learning experience for us, and we look
Number
to-
1 is America. Must
yes,
be.
yes,
Okay. And the number 2 is Japan.
yes.
I think they're 3. Then
They're
I think
three.
Canada
Canada
is
is
2.
number
and
two.
And
Japan
that's
is
the
3.
latest rankings.
But still, for an Asian
Yeah,
country
yeah.
to come in number 3, I mean, this is pretty impressive. And you guys play the national team
Yes.
of Japan. Now, how did that turn out? Okay, dead silence.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
The experience was great.
Yeah.
We learned a lot from the team, but the final score wasn't what we hoped to be.
Yeah.
So-
No, but understandable. I
It's
understand that Japan has a long tradition of American
Yes.
football, and it's
Correct.
very developed as a sport there. And as you said, American football here is really just 4 years old, and you guys are trying to develop the sport, Now, okay, let's talk about. I'm sure a lot of viewers watching now are saying, the only encounter that many of us have with American football is what we watch in the movies. Like we watch Hollywood movies like Every Given Sunday, Remember the Titans, and the players look really big. I mean, stereotypically, the American football player is a big guy. Now, we Filipinos are basically not the biggest people around, but so how is this that we are now competing or trying to compete in a sport that traditionally looks like it's been dominated by all these big people?
I think that's definitely one stereotype that we're trying to change. It doesn't matter how big you are. Sure, it helps. And obviously, when you think of just Filipinos in general, we're not the tallest. But we try to make it up skills-wise, our speed. One big thing, and other sports, I think last time was the basketball team, was the heart. So that's where we try to focus on. Make sure when we go to practice, we're really learning the sport. We're not just relying on our height, our strength. We're trying to learn the concepts of the games. And that's what our coach made sure implemented in our heads, put in our...
So other factors come into play, It's not
Yes,
just
definitely.
it's not just about size. It's about, as you said, speed, teamwork. It's about
Exactly.
technique and
Exactly.
strategy, I guess, no?
strategies, yeah.
What do you add anything, Jeremy, about that? I mean, how does strategy come into play in American football?
Big, of course, because basically in football you're supposed to gain yards.
Yeah.
The goal, of course, is to get to the end zone where you score. So every single play is based on that goal to gain yards. So there are 11 people on the on each side. Each player plays a very important role in gaining those yards. So if one person is supposed to block, push someone to the opposite side to make way for example, the guy who has the ball to run it, to gain those yards. Strategy comes to play because all the 11 have to be in sync to gain those yards.
I mean, see, that's a problem. When you watch it in the movies, it just looks like it's the play of one guy, the one who scores a touchdown, and parang everyone else is forgotten or not even shown on cam. No? But as you say, it really is a team effort, and it really is. It's not. I mean, are there superstars in American football?
There are. I mean, if you compare one player to the average player, definitely they do something more special, faster, stronger, of course. But essentially, overall, it's a team game.
Yeah. Now, okay. I mentioned earlier when I introduced you guys, I mentioned all these positions: defensive back, offensive captain, defensive captain. What is a defensive back? Jose, Inigo.
Well, that would be the second line of defense for the defensive team. So first you have your defensive linemen, then you have your secondaries, which is your defensive backs and your linebackers. Then you have your last line of defense, which are the safeties. So I play the second line of defense, which is the defensive back.
Okay. And what is your role on the field? Let's say when playtime starts.
Well,
what do you do?
It depends on the place, but mostly it's to guard the wide receivers, make sure that they don't get the...
What is a wide receiver?
Oh, okay, so how it starts, it's kind of like a chess.
Yeah.
It all starts with a line, offensive line. They're the big guys you see. I think the biggest movie was The Blind Side. The big guy who blocks.
Sure.
He blocks for. There's a quarterback, and who
calls
like
the
game.
plays.
Yeah.
Right.
He's the game manager.
Right.
And he, at least for, depends on the quarterback's skill set, but his main job is to get the ball to his skill players, and those skill players are the receivers, the running backs, and those are the guys you see
running towards the end zone.
They're the ones that are the speed guys, track and field guys you see. All speed is that. So that's the offense job, and the offense is trying to move the ball to the ultimate goal, which is the end zone.
Yeah.
And the
Score a
defense,
touchdown.
to score a touchdown.
All right.
And within that, there's you have to get first downs, which is 10 yards, and within those 10 yards, you have 4 chances, or we call those downs, 4 downs to get 10 yards. Get 10 yards, it resets back to first down. It keeps going until you hit the end zone. Then the defensive role is their opposite line is obviously trying to go after the quarterback or whoever has the ball.
Yeah.
Then you have linebackers, which is Jeremy. And the defensive backs, which is Inigo's, he's covering the wide receivers, the skill positions. Then you have a safety, which is called a safety. Make sure he's the last line of defense.
Oh, I mean, just you mentioning all these positions and all these roles they have to play, it sounds very quite complicated, no?
It is very complicated. That's why you have to have a good head coach who is always, after practice, watching videos, and that's what our head coach made sure he did, yeah.
Now, you are the offensive captain, and Jeremy is the defensive captain, so you take care of the plays for scoring touchdowns, no?
Correct, on the offense.
And Jeremy is the one who tries to stop
them, basically.
Yes.
your line.
Correct.
Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah,
It's all about gaining yards, and you said that there are 4 tries, no?
To get a first down.
To get a first down.
Then it resets another 10 yards, first down.
How long is a football game? Is an American football game usually?
What we played in Japan, it was 12-minute quarters. So obviously 48 minutes, but it took maybe 2 hours maybe? Because
Why
there's
is
a lot of
that?
stoppage time. So
Is that normal? I mean, for it to extend so long?
I think it's normal. I think it lasted 2 hours around there.
Now, you mentioned about coaches. Who are your coaches? Who is the coach of the Pilipinas Aguilas team?
They might...
Will Ye.
Yeah, Will
His
Ye.
name is Will Ye.
Will Ye.
Yes.
Is he Filipino?
He's American, but Asian American.
Yeah.
He plays with the Bandits. So.
All right.
So that's why he's more appropriate for them to.
Okay.
So,
So he's a
yeah.
player for the Bandits.
Yes.
But he's the coach of the Pilipinas
Yes,
Aguilas
yes,
team.
correct.
Okay.
Because he Filipino, he can't
Yes.
play. Yeah.
Yes. And is there anything special that the coach Ye does for the Aguilas? I mean, is there any special regimen that that he puts you guys through?
It was practice, game film. I mean, he did a great job of getting us all together. Like you said earlier, we're rivals. I mean, we all play against each other in our league.
Yeah.
But he got us all together to have that one common goal. I mean, half of it was easy when we put the Philippine jersey, just the pride. Then the second was his job to get us all together, make sure we were either at his place watching game film, make sure we're at practice. So he's taking care of everything
Yeah.
on practice, outside of practice.
How long did you guys train before you left for Japan?
Probably 4 or 5 months before that. That was every Saturday and Sunday before.
Was it difficult to come together and play for the first time together?
I think it was
In
because our
preparation?
practice was also within our season too. So we would have probably a game one weekend, then the next week we'll all come together and practice together.
Because our local league, the Arena Ball Philippines, ran from August up to around March. So
Yeah.
if it was going, our game against Japan was was 26th of April. So going back 4 or 5 months, we started coming together in November, December. So that was at the same time when we had the league.
Now you guys do this part-time, no? And
Full time's the goal.
but I mean, how difficult is it to for example, Inigo, what do you do I mean, what is your day job?
I work as an IT consultant
Okay.
in Makati, and
Okay.
then that's what I do. And then I just look forward for Saturdays, just play the game. So.
And Paul, what do you do?
I'm a financial analyst at a international bank. So
Okay. Okay. And then, Jeremy?
I work at a local bank here in Makati.
So mixed bag, really mixed bag. IT, finance, banking, and I'm sure you've got other people involved in many other things.
Yes.
Is it difficult to juggle football, and because you are the National Sports Association, and since you are that, you will really be fielded against internationally
Yep.
against our rival teams who represent other countries. Is it difficult to juggle daytime job and training to be a football player?
Well, I think it's more of if you love something, you'll make time for it, right? You shouldn't have a reason not to go to it.
No, but for you guys, you guys work 5 days a week in the office. How often do you train for this?
Well, individually, we get our own time to work out in the gym. So, and then every weekends we work out as a team, practice our plays and stuff.
Where do you guys practice? Which venue? I mean, I saw in the video it was in UP, University of
different
Philippines.
venues. We have a UP. We played in ASCOM, in the fort, and also we did Emperador in the McKinley.
But you don't have a regular place to call your
Not yet.
I mean, so you go these places because do they sponsor you, or do they?
we pay for the field practice.
Okay, let's talk about funding. I mean, what are the major expenses for the team, for instance?
Major expenses, well, at least it was the trip to Japan, and that was out of our pocket.
Yeah.
Player equipment, that could get quite expensive. Other things,
Practice
you know,
fields.
practice fields.
Yeah.
How about uniforms, gear? I mean, who pays for your gear?
The gear itself, the helmet, pads, were just paid by the players itself. And we just use it for the league. But for our jerseys, we're sponsored by Amazing Playground, thank you.
Amazing Playground, all right?
Jerseys, and they have us jackets
Jackets as well.
and pants.
Yeah.
And we had socks because we had to have team socks. That was by Burlington Socks, so we had Puma socks, which is fun.
Okay, well, very good. Wait, hold that thought because we're going to talk more about your gear and your
Okay.
sponsors and what you guys need to come together as a team when Philippines Uncut returns. All right.